Installation of Alta-Proфиль facade panels. Our stone or brick imitation facade panels are popular finishing materials which you can use to improve the appearance of any country house in a few days. With an impressive thickness, they're very durable and can withstand even strong physical impacts. At the same time, polymer facade panels are lightweight and do not create pressure on the walls of the building and its foundations. Painted in a special way, they accurately convey the texture and color of natural stone or brick. We offer many finishing options today. Альта-Профиль has 16 collections and more than 100 colorations. Another advantage of this material is the ease of transportation and installation. In this video, we will talk about how to install the facade panels. You can find detailed instructions on our website in the Help Center section. You will need a tape measure, an angle joint, a level gauge, twine and chalk, a knife cutter, a metal fine-tooth handsaw or angle grinder, a screwdriver, an electric drill or perforator, and a screw driving device. We recommend that you use the Альта-Профиль facade fastening system, which is an ideal framework for the future facade as a backing. The polymeric backing profiles are screwed to the metal suspenders, so the first thing we did was to mark the wall in order to determine their fastening points. The distance between the vertical rows to which we fix the profiles should be no more than 40 centimeters, and for certain collections no more than 30. The walls of this house will be finished with facade panels from the Rocky Stone collection, and the basement will be finished with the Facade collection. Both collections are mounted on a Type A wide flat profile. See our instructions on the compliance of other profiles and collections. For the installation of finishing elements, slats and corners, the usual flat profile suits. To fix the profiles on the suspenders, you need to insert the mounting plates into the special side holes on both sides. To do this, attach the profile to the suspenders and mark the places where the plates will be installed. Next, snap the elements on both sides. The plates are securely fixed to the profile, but in order to strengthen the structure, we recommend that you also fix them with self-tapping screws. Then, using a level gauge, we install flat profiles around the perimeter of the walls, window, and door openings. In this case, the level gauge is needed to ensure that the plane for fastening the panels is flat. Don't forget this important rule: the top profile should not be installed close to the bottom profile. Special antennae help you meet this requirement and leave the necessary clearance. After the profiles for installing and finishing elements are installed, you can proceed to the fastening of the wide flat profiles for the facade panels. The bottom row should be installed using a leveling instrument or twine so that all the elements are strictly at the same level both horizontally and vertically. Remember that the distance between the rows must be no more than 40 centimeters. The second and all subsequent rows are installed in the same way. If you need to reduce the length of the profile to install the last row, simply cut off the unnecessary upper part of it, as shown in our video. The last stage of the frame installation for the facade panels is the installation of metal corners that need to be fixed around the windows and doors and the corners of the building. Screw the metal corner element to the flat profile. The angle must be exactly 90 degrees. The level gauge will help you. Then, using self-tapping screws, secure the bar, which will give the whole structure additional rigidity. Let's move on to the windows. Since they're on the same level as the wall, we make an imitation of the slope for fixing the necessary slats. To do this, we install the metal profile close to the window around the perimeter. You need to fix one side of the metal corner to it and fix the other side to the backing profile. To make the structure rigid, a wooden block is also used. So we have now fully prepared the frame for installation. In brief, the process of installing facade panels on a prepared surface begins with the installation of starting and finishing elements, corners, trims, and slopes. After that, the panels are installed. As a starting slat for mounting, you can use a standard starting metal profile providing the lower part of the facade is parallel to the horizon. If your house is on a slope, the installation should begin with the J profile slat. In this case, the lower part of the panel should be cut at an angle so that its perforated top part is strictly parallel to the horizon after installation. If the basement of the building is indented from the wall, first install the panels on the basement and then proceed to the wall finishing. In this house, we decided to finish the basement to make it look nice. At the beginning of work, we fixed the capping to the lower part of the facade to protect the blind area and installed a J profile over the capping. Outer corners are installed at the corners of the building. It is important to fasten them through the holes in the upper part. To fix the corners more securely, use special side fasteners. The installation of facade panels is carried out from left to right. As you can see, the first panel requires cutting when jointing with a corner. In this case, the joint will be continuous. Using a grinder, cut off a small part of the panel so that its left edge is smooth and joint with the other corner. Secure the panel with galvanized self-tapping screws, twisting them into the center of the perforation. Do not screw the self-tapping screw as far as it will go. Leave a small gap for possible expansion or contraction of the panel in case of a temperature drop. The next panel is joined to the previous one using special lugs. After connecting, you also need to secure it with self-tapping screws. The remaining panels of the first row are installed in the same way. Note, the use of a special Альта-Профиль facade fastening system will save you the trouble of having to use a level gauge or elevation meter. The last right-hand panel of any row fits into the outer corner. Measure the distance from the edge of the installed panel to the inside of the corner groove in order to determine the length of the edge panel. Sometimes to complete a row, a small part of the panel is required, as in our house. In this case, you need to use another panel. Measure the required distance and cut off the superfluous part with a grinder. Next, you need to join the last panels of the row and insert it into the corner. As you can see, for convenience, it is better not to screw the penultimate panel into the backing. Do this at the end. So we have installed the panels in the basement of the building. A metal capping is installed above the basement. If the basement protrudes, capping is obligatory. If not, it performs a decorative function. Next, we turn to the finishing of the main part of the facade. Before installing the siding or facade panels, you should install all the finishing elements, including the outer corners, for whose installation the Альта-Профиль has developed a unique system. The corner finishing system is installed on any ventilated facade. It makes the corner voluminous and gives the house a respectable appearance. The system includes a mounting base and 3 types of finishing elements of varying size. You can combine them in every possible way, creating a unique custom design. At the beginning, the fastening base is installed on the facade corner. It is screwed to the backing with self-tapping screws through special holes. Note, the mounting base is designed so that it can join with panels of different thickness. You can use the mounting tray to increase the gap so that thicker panels can easily enter the groove of the base. If the gap is sufficient without using the shelf, simply cut off this element. Mounting bases are installed strictly vertically and are joined using lugs. To install the top base, measure the required distance from the lugs of the lower element to the roof overhang and cut the necessary part off with an angle grinder. Then install the base and secure it with self-tapping screws to the metal corners. The base is now installed, but before fixing the decorative elements to it, we need to trim the window openings with Alta decor trims and slopes and install the panels on the facade. Alta Decor is a system of elements for decorating any window or door opening with ease. The system of trims and slopes gives the facade an attractive and complete appearance, hides seams and joints when installing the panels. In addition to its aesthetic properties, it offers other advantages: resistance to mechanical damage and UV radiation, ease of transportation, and of course, installation. The order and rules for installing the elements are quite simple. First, you need to measure the length and height of the window opening, in order to install the finishing slat for the slopes immediately adjacent to the window. This slat is fastened around the perimeter of all the windows. Next, we install the corners of the slope. Measure the opening depth and adjust the size of the element on it. Then secure the bottom corners with self-tapping screws. The next stage is the installation of the slopes, which are joined to the secured corners. In this case, we also need to cut off the unnecessary part of the element in order to adjust it to the opening depth. The number of elements depends on the height and width of the window. The slopes are joined together using special feathers. In the case of a slope, jointing with a corner element, the feathers must be cut off. This is because the element is universal and can be used both on the right and left side of the opening. After all the elements are prepared, they can be joined to each other and fixed to the window. But beforehand, use the level gauge to make sure that all the elements are installed at right angles. The mounting of slopes is complete. They can join directly with the facade panels, but to make your facade look more stately, we recommend that you use special Alta-Proфиль trims. The decorative trims of the Alta Decor system are joined to the installed slope. If you did everything correctly before that, then it is easy to fix them to the backing. The sequence and installation rules for this element are identical to those we talked about earlier. The trim and slope are universal. The same element can be installed both on the right and left side of the window. This is why, when it joins with a corner, you need to cut off the locking feathers. All the elements of the Alta Decor system are secured to the backing with galvanized self-tapping screws. The self-tapping screw must be located in the center of the perforation. A window finished with the Alta Decor system looks like this. After its installation, you can proceed to the mounting of the facade panels. Remember that we finished the basement of the building to make it look nice with the bottom row of panels by installing a metal capping on them. In order to begin the installation of a new row, we need to install a starting metal profile. All the profiles must be placed strictly horizontally, and you can use twine for this. A self-tapping screw is screwed into the perforated part of the wide flat profile of the facade fastening system. At the outer corner of the building, the panels are joined to the fixing base of the corner finishing system, which we installed in advance. The first panel must be cut in such a way that its left edge is smooth. Then the lower part of the panel is inserted into the starting profile and the smooth side into the groove of the base. Now the panel can be fixed with a self-tapping screw. To install the panels around the windows, mark the trim joints and cut off the unnecessary part with a grinder. Then connect the locks and insert the panel into the grooves of the finishing elements. If you have measured and trimmed the panel correctly, the joints will not be visible. In the same way, you can easily bypass all the openings on the facade. In rare cases, the panel cannot be fixed to the backing, for example, if the panel and profile perforations do not match. In this case, we recommend that you install a transverse bar. The second row and all subsequent ones are installed on the facade in a staggered order. The vertical joints of the rows must not meet, which guarantees facade durability and rigidity. Ensure that when installing each new row of panels, all the locks meet the upper edge of the lower row panels. Do not forget that polymeric finishing materials have a small linear expansion coefficient, so leave a gap of a few millimeters for thermal expansion and compression. If you follow all these rules, a house finished with these facade panels will look beautiful for many years. The final stage of the facade finishing is the installation of the decorative elements of the corner finishing system. You can choose any combination of those offered by our designers or create your own and make the facade of your home truly unique. The elements are easy to fix to the base and are very secure, so before you start the installation, be sure to draw a diagram of the future corner. The installation is now complete. Now your house looks both sturdy and stately. It is well protected from the wind, rain, snow, and sun. Walls lined with Alta-Proфиль panels cannot be distinguished from the natural stone or brick facades, even from a close distance. You can find detailed instructions on the installation of the Alta Decor corner finishing system on our website www.alpha-profile.ru in the Help Center section. And our experts in the installation department can answer all your questions concerning the installation of our materials. Call the toll-free hotline 800-555-7773.